Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host, your friend, and coach. Today, I have another special guest, my dear friend, Ann Oickle, aka Going Places, or aka Happy Feet. We can do an entire episode on that. We might cover that again later in the podcast. But, anyways, wonderful lady from tropical Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. We connected about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, back in June. She took the 5-day profitable podcast launch challenge. We had a lot of fun getting to know each other. And I said, by the way, why don't you come on my podcast? Because you have an incredible story. And she said, yeah, let's do it. So here we are. A little bit about Anne. She, uh, she lead exhausted professional parents from survival to steady power with micro momentum, restless strategy, and innovative calm inside a community that treats you like family. So all about the heart, all about being happy, and all about having a good time. Because me and Anne, when we talk, we're goofing around and giggling like kids, and that's one thing I love. Look at that smile! Come on, look at that smile. See,
I know, I
so
can't not laugh.
exactly, laughter is the most powerful medicine in the world. So, anyways, Anne, welcome, my friend. How are you today?
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. I see you a little bit bundled up because it's in tropical Edmonton. It's starting to get a bit chilly, eh?
Yes, just a tad. We've had frost already.
Oh, wow. Wow. All right. That's one thing I'm definitely not missing. I used to live in Edmonton 10, 12 years ago. But, anyways, yes, I remember those days. So tell us, Anne, we're going to talk about your business in a moment, but tell us, for people who don't know you, who's Anne, first and foremost, as a woman and as a human being?
I am a loaded gun of information and experiences.
Gun or
I
machine
am
gun?
a no, not a machine gun, although my personality might have been described as that. I'm a wife, a mom. I have a child that is a young adult now dealing with special needs, diagnosed from the ages of 14 through to 17 with ADD, autism, select mutism, high social
Wow.
anxiety. And all while these diagnoses were happening, I was working a full-time job that was high stress, high demand, and very stressful. So, needless to say, I was for 30 plus years in the workforce not very present
Mhm.
in my own personal life. Like, I was here, but I wasn't here because I was always planning and stretching
Sure.
beyond, like what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen next week, always trying to prepare what's going to happen so I could be prepared for reactions. And I started down that path at a young age. I lost my mom at the age of 23, and to avoid all the family drama and challenges that come with that, I became a workaholic, and that's where a lot of my habits came from. So, having a deep seated parents that raised us to be, you know, good work ethic, work hard, you'll be okay. Well, adding that to becoming a workaholic, it was tenfold. So 30 plus years of functioning at a high stress level, high capacity. I actually thrived on it when I was younger, but as you age, it's not healthy. So your body and your mental and physical body catches up to you. So I was probably in my mid 40s when I was listening to a podcast of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he was explaining that when you're in high stress, how our bodies go into survival mode. And what happens when we're in survival mode, we our bodies get chemically altered. Well, he compared us to like a deer or wildlife. When they go in survival mode, they become hyper alert, they flee, and then when the danger's gone, they come back down to homeostasis and go back to living their lives. But us as humans, and me specifically, high stress, high demand all the time. I was up
Wow.
here all the time. And when your body's starting to produce chemicals like cortisol, endorphins, like all these things that happens in our body at high levels of states, he's like he said, we're at a dis-ease because we're not in homeostasis. When you put them together, it describes disease. And I started to think, oh my God, like my body was starting to break down. I couldn't handle the stress like I used to. And I was like, holy shit, what's around the corner? because I was functioning like that for 30 plus years.
Wow.
So that's when I started to shift and change. I started to dive into personal development, spirituality, the whole shebang. And my life went from high stress to this shit ain't going to be it anymore. And now that's the name of my podcast. This shit can't be it.
Really? That's the name?
That's the name.
Oh, I'm happy, but I'm kind of disappointed because I thought I was hoping it would be Happy Feet Going Places.
I know, but I thought, you know what? My business is all about helping that
Oh,
high
I know.
stress, busy
Yeah,
parent. So I was like, you know what? I'm always saying this shit can't be it. And it hit me. It was like, that's it.
I love that name. Well done. Well done. We're gonna unpack all of that in a moment, but first of all, what I like to do and what I will do is I will ask you a series of rapid fire questions to further get to know you as a person. Ready?
Giver.
All right. So tell us, what makes you happy?
Nature, family,
Mhm.
connection,
Yeah,
relationships.
yeah.
Just you know what? It's funny. I did a post on this today is what brings you joy because I couldn't
Mm,
answer that probably 5 years ago. I couldn't answer that. And it's not what you would typically think. It's not the titles, it's not the money, it's not the statue,
yes.
it's not the work. When I was working my 9 to 5 job, it wasn't the industry I was in. It was the total opposite.
Mhm. Now, what makes you smile?
Oh my God. Almost everything.
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, what makes me smile is family, having fun, even relaxing. I catch myself smiling when I'm like meditating.
Love that.
There's it just I love nature. I'm on a 3 acre property. I'm surrounded with woods and animals,
Wow.
wildlife, plus my own animals. So there's a lot of things that make me smile. But we love to have fun. So
That's what it's all about, having fun. Love that. Now, let's take the happiness factors a couple of notches higher. What makes your heart sing? What sets your soul on fire? What makes you come alive?
oh my Lord, that is a huge question. What makes me come alive is I'm a very passionate person to begin with. So, what fires me up is having that natural excitement, that natural juice for life,
Mm,
and being able to help others find that in themselves, recognize it in themselves, and start succeeding in their happiness, in their joy. Because like I say, it's not always about titles or reaching the next level of income. It's deeper than that. So
mm.
what lights me up is having that fire, that passion for life.
Love that. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, what makes you sad and angry?
You know what? That answer has also shifted. What used to make me sad and angry was other people's judgments,
Mm,
their lack of perspective, their lack
mm,
of openness. And now, honestly, I've become pretty calm. What makes me angry now is when people don't fully see themselves as others see them. That it doesn't make me angry, but it hurts my heart because if you're in a position or a state, and when I say state, an emotional state or an energetic state of constantly trying to be heard and you're not listening to anything anybody says, it can drive the person trying to communicate, me, a little on the crazy side because I know what's driving it, but it's to get you, the person that's doing it, to recognize you need to take a breath. Just take a calm breath. And I've even resorted to that in conversation, saying, you know what, because I can feel their energy, their stress and anxiety. And I'm like, you know what, can we just stop and take a breath? Just a deep breath. Just let it out.
actually, let's do that right now. I needed that.
It does. It makes a difference.
What does it say that breathing? is the key to controlling pretty much yourself.
100% it is. There's, again, a lesson I had to learn the hard way is there's three things that we can control, and that's it. Because I used to believe I could control everything outside of me. I was always planning and preparing to control everything outside of me. And when somebody first told me that the only thing I can control is my thoughts, my feelings, and the meaning I give things around my feelings and my actions. And I had a hard time wrapping my head around that because I was so far on the spectrum of no, I can control everything around me.
Mm,
And that's what caused my stress and my chaos. But when I recognized that and was able to bring that back down, breath work became a huge foundation of what I do now in helping other people because you can change your state, your entire being like that
mhm,
with three breaths. And if you're in high stress, high chaos, you may need breath work that's going to disrupt your nervous system versus calm it. You want to disrupt it first and then calm it. And breath work has been I I resort to it all the time. And the minute I feel that stress, that anxiety, that chaos, that anger, whatever is negative, first thing I do is start breathing and pay attention to my breathing. It took me 2 years to learn to calm my brain in meditation. And now I can do it almost instantly.
that's fascinating. That reminds me of a time 2 years ago. I was in Malaysia. Whoops. With my friend, he was hosting an event, men's circle, and at the end, we all had to do, well, not had to, but he invited us to do an ice bath. Uh,
Yes.
a nice bath. So picture this: we're a tropical place. I was one of the first to go, and then we're supposed to stay at least between 1 minute 30 to 2 minutes. I said, it's okay. I felt like a hero, no problem. The moment I stepped into that water, the first 20 seconds of me being in that ice bath were the longest, most painful 20 seconds of my life. Every inch of my body, every muscle, bone, even bones and parts I didn't even knew I had, were screaming at me, "Hey, get the hell out of here! Get the hell out!" I was literally cursing,
Yep.
and then I was literally asking the guys that was cheering me around me, "So how much more time left?" Just only 10 seconds. That's not possible. Come on, stop joking around me. And then I had this insight to, hey, just relax, control your
Mm-hmm.
breathing. I swear to you,
Right.
and the moment I did that, I'm not gonna say that the pain, my toes, my feet were literally burning in that ice bath, literally burning.
Yeah.
So I started to feel less, and then after the 45-second mark, I literally started to just be like this, just chilling and chit chatting with the boys. Hey, so what's going on? Tell me about this. Tell me about that. We get on the conversation. I completely forgot about the minute 30. And then at one moment, one of the guys says, "Hey, you don't want to get out?" Say, "Are we done with the 1 minute, 32 minutes?" "Oh, you only 4 minutes."
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And I just left. So that was the most beautiful metaphor for life. It's not what happens, but how we react. The first thing we need to do is relax and
Mm-hmm.
control your breathing. Because my breathing, controlling that, I was like panting the first 20,
Yep.
30 seconds to,
Yep.
that was the
And
most,
they say,
yeah.
absolutely. And they say that when you get to a point where you can control your physiology in an ice bath, you're capable of controlling any situation now
Yep.
because that it brings you back to controlling that breath work. Breath is our life force energy. Like that is our life
Yes.
force. If we stop
Literally.
breathing, we stop living. Yes.
Literally. Yeah. Yeah.
So being able to control that breathing and having like even if no matter what's going on, you close your eyes and you center in breath, it changes everything. Even my daughter with her high anxiety, I watched this child and she was still a kid at the time. She was probably in her mid-teens in a mall. She was starting to lose her shit because high social anxiety in a mall is not a good combination. And she's like, Mom, we got to go. And I'm like, we can't go. We're meeting people here. Like, I can't just leave. I said, you've been taught how to protect your energy. I said, I'm sitting right here. I said, I know you're not comfortable. Close your eyes, do your breath work. I watched this kid literally sit right beside me. I made sure nobody come within her bubble. And she literally sat there and did her little ritual of what it is she does to protect her energy. And part of that is breath work. And I watched that kid shift from practically starting a panic attack to not wanting to leave
Wow.
in a very busy mall,
That's
West
captivating.
Edmonton Mall.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty big one too.
Well, it's the largest in, I think, in North America.
It used to
Or
be
it
at one
was at one
time,
point. Yep.
and the
At one
world
time it
even.
was.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Fascinating. So, Anne, a couple of more rapid fire questions. What scares you?
Death. And it's not the normal scares of death. My biggest fear is dying prematurely. I've got too much
Mm,
life left to live. And one of the biggest fears, because we can't control it, we don't know when our time is up. And that's probably one of my biggest fears is dying prematurely and not of old
yes.
age.
Yeah.
Because I have a child with special needs. She's a young adult. So there's so much more to teach her. She's still reliant on us. So that would probably be one of my biggest fears is death. Death for me to go too soon,
Hmm.
death for her to go too soon.
Yeah. Absolutely. What would you say is your personal number one superpower? Other than laughing and smiling, going places
I
and putting your legs up and all that.
Yeah, to take the laughing out of it. It's funny because people used to tell me when I was younger, you should patent that laugh. I said if there was a way I would. But superpower, honestly, would be my ability to connect with
Mm,
people. Like I can talk to just about anybody
yeah.
and build connection fairly swiftly.
Are you the type of person that, let's say, you're grocery shopping and the little lady beside you starts talking to you and opening up to you about their life and problem, or the guy next door just say, start chatting with you as if you were an old friend? Are you
I
that kind of
talk to
person?
everybody.
Yeah.
So, you know how we teach our kids not to talk to strangers? Well, I'm always talking to strangers. And I remember when my daughter was younger, she's like, Mom, why is it okay for you to talk to strangers and not me?
Yeah.
And
Good
I
point.
looked at her. It is a good point because we teach our children not to talk to strangers. So I had to stop and think about that for a minute. And I was like, you know what, my love? The reason we teach our kids not to talk to strangers because your brain is still developing and you
Yeah.
don't typically at a young age really know what information is safe to share and what information is not.
Mm,
Therefore, I know when I'm talking to strangers, I'm not going to give them my address, my phone number.
sure.
Where children are an open book. They don't understand balance, safety, and what to
Yes.
share and what not to share. So I said, from my perspective as a parent, that's why we teach our kids not to talk to strangers. However, adults require to rely on strangers all the time.
Indeed. Yeah.
So we should be transitioning from not so much of our kids not talking to strangers, but teach them what is safe and what is not safe when it comes to talking with strangers versus not talking to them at all. Because as adults, we need to deal with strangers. We need to talk to strangers. You and I were strangers at one point. We're all strangers to each other at some point or another. So, not talking to strangers is not the right message. It's what to share with strangers is what's most important.
That is
But I didn't
very,
know that until later on in life.
yeah. That is a very important and powerful reminder. Absolutely. Absolutely. Next, what is one thing that you used to value that you don't value anymore?
Titles,
Yes.
um, working in an industry. And it's funny because I started to realize this early on, but I didn't realize what I was actually realizing.
Mhm.
Um, I like when I first started working, like our parents taught us, go to school, get a good education, get a good job, don't suffer the way we did. Well, the reality was I went to school, got a better job, but I still suffered the way they did, just at a higher level of income. But
Yeah.
I still had all of their challenges because they programmed me to live the way they lived. As much as they're saying don't do what we did, they couldn't teach me to be a business owner because they weren't business owners. So I didn't learn any of those values or any of those skill sets until I started to seek them out myself because I was never around any of it. So it's pretty hard to do differently when you're raised a certain way until you grow up and become an adult and
Hmm.
choose to learn to be different.
Yes.
And the value when I was in my 20s was to get a good job, work my way up to management. And as I'm working my way up, I realized I don't want management. I don't want to deal with that. Management in the companies that I worked for was babysitting adults, and I had no patience for it. So, I that's probably one of the biggest shifts that I had
Uh-huh.
from my early days to now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can completely relate to that as well. Now, on the other side, what is one thing that you did not value before? Now you're valuing more and more.
Uh, Time.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
The
Yes.
the more we age, and I found for me, it was probably in my mid 40s when I started my personal development and my spiritual growth, that I woke up to the reality that time is one resource we can't get back. Money, we can lose it. It's an energy. We can lose it, we can get it. But time, we got here and now, and when it's gone, it's gone. So we tend to live in the past and we tend to react based on the shit that's happened and the good that's happened in our past, but yet we don't truly value what time we have now and the future that it holds. Because a lot of us, and I've been guilty of it too, by living in the past and reacting to people and situations like it's happening again, is a total waste of our time. So
Absolutely.
it's important to take what we've struggled and learn from it versus living in guarded behaviors because of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Moving forward, you enjoy traveling, don't you?
No, I don't travel a whole lot.
Okay. Well, we can talk about travel and do an entire, not just podcast, but an entire show just on that. Because hey, happy feet going places, right?
Yeah, I
But
travel in here.
yes, yes, yes. I'd like to take you down a different type of traveling, down memory line. Go back to when you were growing up as a kid. You know, when we're kids, people around us, family, relatives, friends, neighbors, teachers, always ask us, hey, Anne, what do you want to become when you grow up? What was your answer to that as a little girl?
As a very little girl, I wanted to be a nurse because I had two
Ah,
brothers that were sick and
oh,
they had a terminal illness,
oh no.
and they were 12 and 18 when they passed, and I was 5 and 9.
Sorry to hear
So
that.
when I was younger, because I had to help them when they were
Mm,
younger, like when they were homesick, you know, Casey wasn't too bad, but Mike was physically sick. Like he would throw up, he needed oxygen. So he would get so short of breath from coughing that I'd have to help him with his mask. If he was sick, I'd have to help him with literally the
yeah.
buckets. So being the miniature nurse at home, I would I wanted to be a nurse when I grew up. But after they passed away, I was still young. Like I say, I was 9 when Mike passed. I got away from that, having to deal with that aspect of life.
Mm,
So I actually became very weak stomach when it come to that stuff. So when I got older, nursing was out.
yeah.
I passed out with bodily fluids, blood, you name it. I would pass out. So
Yeah.
that became a non-negotiable. But when I was really young, would have been a nurse.
Cool. Now, growing up, what was your relationship with school? Did you love school or hate it?
You know what? It was a love-hate relationship.
Depending on the subject?
Yeah, I didn't love that type of I didn't love the teaching environment. I loved some subjects. My favorite subject, now here's the irony, my favorite subject was gym.
I was
And
expecting you to say
my,
biology.
nope, my dad couldn't stand biology, obviously. My dad hated gym because it wasn't essential for life.
Mm,
And when people say to you, what is it that you'd love to do? For the longest time during my adult life, I couldn't answer that because I was programmed, even though I loved being physically active, loved gym class. I loved, like, I was gymnastics, I was tiny, flexible, like, I loved doing that stuff. Forgot all about the fact that I had a love for that. Grew up, my mom passed away when I was 23. I became such a workaholic, I packed on weight. And if there's one regret I have in life, it would be not paying attention to my physical body. And I stopped doing that, of which I loved, because I became hyper focused on work to avoid it. Where if I had to use that as an outlet to deal with all of that chaos, things would have been very different. But if I were to look back in my early young adult years, instead of somebody looking at my academics, because I did well in school, I loved math. I did well in school. I was a thriver, so I always thrived to have good grades, but I didn't love aspects of teaching. I didn't love social studies, didn't love sciences, but I loved gym class. I loved math class. I hated English. And it was the social interaction. I loved the social interaction and I loved the physical activity and the teamwork
mm,
that we did in gym class. And when I was stressed in school, I let my that was my outlet, was physical activity. I would give her like crazy giver. Like some people thought I was bionic when I got angry. But I didn't carry that on throughout my adult
yeah.
life. Like why I didn't go down that path, I have no idea. And nobody ever recognized it to help nurture that either. They
Mm,
seen my strong in math and they were like, "Oh, you'd be good in accounting." I was artistic, so they're like architecture. I didn't want to do any of that, but I went down that path. I got my first year accounting because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and that's
yeah.
what was recommended. Never even considered anything to do with the physical and fitness
Yeah.
aspect of life, which I probably should have gone down that path.
Yeah, I can imagine. So imagine that we were in the same class, say around grade 10, grade 11. That would have been a fun time, let me tell you. So,
Would have been an interesting time.
absolutely, fireworks all day long. So, what kind of student, what kind of girl were you back then? I kind of know the answer, but I want you to say it. Were you the shy type, the introvert, the geek, the life of the party, the chatterbox, the
You
superstar?
know
So, what
what?
was that
I
back then?
was back then I was transitioning from being the shy, quiet type into being that sociable butterfly. Even though I like during my younger years, I had that quiet, shy piece of me, which people can't believe nowadays. I always had an outward voice, and I was known for,
Oh,
because my dad is very dominant personality, and so are all of us kids. But he always taught us, if you're going to start mouthing off at somebody, or if you're going to, step up and defend, you best make sure that you're in the right. Because if you do shit and you're in the wrong and the cops show up at this door, I'm not protecting you unless you've done the right thing. So we were ingrained. If we're going to step up, speak up, and open our mouths, we best make sure we know we're doing it for the right reasons. So
yeah.
I was very outspoken, including with my teachers. I had a reputation that I was the only one that could tell off a teacher and not get into shit.
Okay, okay. Now, were you popular with the boys in school?
No, I hoarded them off like the plague. I did not want anything to do with boys in school. I grew up in a small town. It was a very small school. So, growing up, especially in high school, it was grade 7 to grade 12. And I didn't like the cattiness of the girls. I didn't like that type of drama.
Mhm.
So, I avoided boys like the plague because I swore that I was getting out of that town and I was never going to marry anybody from there. And I married somebody from there. I
Speaking of
don't
that,
remember him in school. He was a little bit older than I was, so I don't remember him in school, but I ended up marrying from down there
so speaking of that, how did you meet your husband?
at the Irving garage because it was a very small town. There wasn't a whole lot there. So it was at the
Okay.
local gas station.
Really? You were both pumping gas and tell us how
Yeah,
did you guys meet? That's fascinating.
literally he was with his friend and they were getting gas and me and my friends were in the convenience store. And yeah, my friend was dating his brother.
Ah, who made the first move?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't remember. This is going back a long ways.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What made you realize, hey, this guy's different?
Um, I think it was his very presence. So
Mm,
I talk about this a lot. Him and my daughter both
yeah.
have this energy that's very calm and connected. And
Mm,
she's a little bit more of aware of it because she was younger when I started my spiritual journey. So she started to learn some of what I did. But he's always been very practical and pragmatic. So for him, he's got a way of connecting with nature. He's not a sociable butterfly. He's very calm, relaxed, and loves nature. And this man has animals that will come up to him and greet him like you wouldn't believe. I'm not talking just pets. I'm talking wildlife. It doesn't matter. He's got that energy that if animals trust him, I'll trust him.
mm,
Like it's crazy. I've never seen anybody have the power with nature the way he does. Like he actually works for the local animal humane society,
wow.
and they'll bring in dogs and they'll have them labeled as aggressive, and he'll be in their pens with them, and they're curled up around him. It's crazy.
Beautiful. Some people have that
So
gift. It's
would
a
be
gift.
his energy. Yes, would have
Yes.
been his energy that connected us or connected me to him.
Sometime, especially in Asia, there's a lot of stray dogs. They're
Mm,
barking. And when I look at them, I send them, say, love and light with a smile. And all of a sudden, even the one that is the meanest, I can feel his energy or her energy shift and stop barking at me, looking at me.
yeah.
I'm not saying I'm connecting and talking with the dog, but I can, because I'm sending them the purest love, because I love dogs
Mm,
more than cats. Uh, I feel that change in them, seriously.
yep.
Maybe not to the level, of course, nowhere near the level of your husband, but in my tiny little modest way, I say, hey, love and light to you, my friend. And they just stop and they just look at me,
Yep.
and that's it.
He's got such a way. I've caught him on video. I've
Wow.
purposely, yeah, because when we first moved to the Edmonton area, because we're from the Maritime, so I'm from Nova Scotia. But when we first moved to Alberta, we bought our first house, and the sun was shining on the garage, and this bird was on the ground, not up in the branches, but on the ground by the garage soaking up the sun and the heat, but he was acting kind of weird. And I said to my husband, I said, there's something wrong with that bird. So when I went over to go near it, I'd get maybe within 5 feet and it would fly. So I went back, sat down, and it come back and it's acting kind of weird, but it would close its eyes and you could tell it was soaking up the heat. So I said to my husband, I said, come check out this bird. And I hit record on my phone. I hit record because I knew he was going to touch that bird. And sure enough, he walks right up to it, reaches out, and he could have grabbed it, reaches out and touches it. And I got it on video because I knew
Wow.
I couldn't get near it. I tried two, three times to go
Yeah.
see if it was all right and it would fly on me. But I knew he walked out just slowly, calmly, walked up to it, reached down and touched it. I was like, I
Do you
knew.
think that?
I recorded it. I recorded it. I knew it was going to happen.
So, what is it that he has, or people like him have? Is it a God-given talent? I mean, it is obviously, but or is it something way deeper, way bigger that
I think it
maybe?
goes deeper. It's energy, it's
Mm,
energetic, And I don't believe he understands it, but me learning what I've learned, I'm starting to understand it a bit better.
Yeah.
Will I ever fully understand it? I don't know, but everything is energy. We're all energy. When you break
Yes.
down animals, trees, us, down
Everything.
to our finest molecules, we're all energy. So his level of calmness is more connected to that energy than he realizes.
Hmm.
And even intuition wise, like he there's things he just knows
Wow.
and he'll just say it and it'll happen.
Is he doing anything with his gift?
No, he's not aware of it whatsoever. I've tried to talk to him and get him to embrace it and do things to nurture it, but he's not interested in it. He's just, so I just leave him alone. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
He's just a natural flow.
Fascinating, fascinating. One last question about your youth and growing up. What was your very first job? And do you remember how much you get paid the first time you worked in your life?
Yes, actually, I worked my very first job because we lived in the middle of nowhere. I worked for my mother. She was a seamstress and she decided to branch off from her job and start her own business. So my very first job was helping her sew sports clothing.
Wow.
And she, because she was a small local business, we actually, one year before she had to close it down, she actually did all of our high school jackets.
Mm. And do you remember how much you get paid that very first paycheck?
No, because she didn't pay me as an employee. She paid me as an independent and it was under the table. So
So she paid you
it
in
was,
food and lodging, right?
no,
And
I got paid, but it was scattered when she got paid.
yeah, okay, okay, okay,
So it was
okay.
not a set wage. It was like,
Yeah,
here's some money. Thanks for helping. Here's a couple $100. Thanks for helping.
yeah. And remember, what did you
So
do with that first paycheck? What did you buy? Did
I
you
didn't
treat
buy
yours?
anything. No, I stashed it.
Oh, you're a saver. Okay, that's good.
I
Smart girl.
stashed. Yeah.
Smart
Well, we
girl.
were taught if you're gonna, back then, if
Yeah,
you were going to buy anything, you paid
cash.
cash for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, if there was anything we wanted, like I wanted a brand new bike because being the youngest of four boys, I got all the hand-me-downs. And I remember my brother and I both, who's closest to my age, we wanted brand new bikes. So I wanted a 10-speed bike.
Yes.
So I saved for that.
Beautiful.
And
Let's
I
move.
told my mother she was not allowed to buy it without my approval
Oh,
because what she
wow.
liked and what I liked was
Of
night and day.
course. That's a beautiful, yes. It's very difficult buying, especially I have my brother, my sisters, my niece. My niece turned 10 this year. My nephew, oldest, turned 8. And it's getting harder and harder to buy them gifts. So now I just say, give money to the mother, say,
Yep,
buy whatever you want. They're very picky.
yep, yep. Yeah, from 12 onward, look out.
Even my sisters, they want me to buy stuff from Vietnam, like beautiful dresses, hats. I say, listen, I don't even dare. You tell me,
Yeah,
send me what you want. Go on Google, send me a picture of what you want, and I'll get it for you, or a bag or whatever. Because I
yeah.
can't, you know.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. Anyways, mo- fun comes. I like that. I like that. Moving forward, how would you describe your path from the moment you left school to now? Would you say once you get into one lane, one career, you were set for life, or smooth sailing was more like turns and twists, like a roller coaster?
Yeah, no, I was the spaghetti on the plate. I pretty much stuck to the industrial world. So, growing up and living most of my adult life in Nova Scotia, it was the industrial world and the marine world. So, the bulk of my career was in that department. I
Mhm.
did break free of it for a little bit and I dabbled in finances, like financial, so
Yeah.
life insurance, seg funds. Didn't love that. And I also spent a few years in the real estate industry.
Okay.
So that wasn't too bad, but I didn't love that either. So I ended up going back to the industrial world because I felt that's what I knew, that's where I thrived.
Mm.
So I went back to the industrial world left Nova Scotia when I was 40 and we came to Alberta because I could do the same job here versus down home and make 15 to $30,000 more than down east.
Yeah.
So we literally came to Alberta, and the schooling was better here than back east as well, which turned out to be a godsend when it come to our daughter. So um, yeah, no, I was not on a steady path by no means.
Mm-hmm.
And out here, it was construction and pipeline.
Sure, of course. Oil and gas, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. How would you describe the weather out east versus Alberta?
It's changed a lot just since we've been here. So
Yeah.
it's very different now. It's more humid back east because you're next to the ocean. It's a lot more drier here. The sun's like in the summertime, you have much more daylight. Sunsets last almost all night near that June mark. And yeah, the I don't find the darkness lasts as long in the winter either.
I remember when I was in Edmonton back in June, it was daylight up until 10:30. Literally till 11 o'clock at night, it was daylight.
Yep. Yeah, and it stays dusky. If you got a clear night, it stays dusk
Yeah.
almost all night long when you get to that mid-June mark.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. Now, have you ever been broke?
Yeah.
So
Well, depends
speaking,
what you call broke, I guess.
so
Have I been so far in poverty that I haven't had food on my table? No. My husband's experienced that. I have not.
you know that the saying is that change your story, change your life. And by story, I mean what we tell ourselves all day long. So when you were at the
Right?
lowest of your life, how did you
Hmm.
change your story internally to change your reality externally?
Right. So mine wasn't around money. So my
Mm,
brokenness was mental and emotional around my mother's
mm,
passing, was probably my lowest point in my life of being broke or
mm,
broken.
yeah.
So, no word of a lie, I'm going to say probably close to 8 years of family chaos, family drama.
Wow.
And I didn't know what I was doing back then. I can reflect back on it now and say, holy crap, I actually recognized and shifted. And that's exactly what happened is the mind shift changed because the chaos and the drama was not what I grew up with. We had tragedy in the family, but we didn't have drama in the family. So when my mom passed, there was a lot of drama, which we were not used to. And I just got to a point where almost 8 years of it, I recognized that I was starting to get addicted to that negative attention. And I realized I didn't like it. And that's when I literally made a conscious decision. I'm not doing this anymore. And I literally had a conversation with my father that I never thought I would ever have. He never thought I would ever have, but it shifted everything. And from that moment on, I had set boundaries. He had gone and gotten some therapy, and he started to learn what was happening in his world. I started to recognize what parts I was contributing from past behaviors and how I was no longer contributing anymore. And everything almost overnight
Mm,
shifted
wow.
because of a decision and boundaries.
Very powerful. Yes. I learned that the hard way as well because I used to be always doing everything for everyone, putting my needs last because that's
Hmm.
the environment I grew up in, cultural environment. But then I had to learn the hard way to put boundaries and to put myself first. When you put yourself first, that doesn't mean you're being selfish. It's quite the opposite. It means you're actually altruistic because you need to fill your cup first so you can have
Yeah,
stuff and things to give to others. If your cup is empty, you have nothing to give. You become a liability, not only for you,
yeah,
but for them. Once I
yeah,
understood that, that's when I started putting and exercising more boundaries. It wasn't easy on me, but I had to do it.
yeah. Well, I refused to have kids during that period because I, I even said to my now husband, "There's no way I'm bringing a child into this world with this chaos. I just
Yes,
wasn't. I
absolutely.
just wasn't."
Absolutely. Now let's move forward and talk about your business. So tell us, what's your business? How are you, Anne, making the world a better place around you and around the world?
My business is always growing and evolving as I do. So, right now, I focus on helping those busy professional parents. I created a system that I call the annihilation system.
Oh, wow.
Everybody says brand your name. Well, my last name is Oickle, and I'm like, I'm not branding my last name. Not only can most people not spell it, but they also can't pronounce it. So I was like, I don't have a name to brand, and I don't want to change it. It's like some people will physically change their names to brand their business. I didn't want to do that.
Mm,
So I created my business, and while I was learning to meditate, back when I couldn't calm my mind, it was at the beginning stages where my mind started to calm. The name Dynamic Living popped in. And back then, I was not in
ah,
business. I had no idea what my business was even going to be because I didn't have any desire to have a business. I just knew the name was going to mean something in the future. I just didn't know what. So that's the name of my business is Dynamic Living Lifestyles and focusing on professional busy parents like I was, get out of that high stress, that high chaos, even if it's situational. If you're not got the tools to navigate out of that, it's going to impact your health, your life, your overall well-being, and your lifestyle. So,
yeah.
not just your life, but your lifestyle. So, I became hyper focused on helping those busy professional parents because, like you said, if you don't fill your cup up first, you can't show up and be there fully with a full battery for
Yes.
everyone else. So you
Yes.
have to refuel your battery. So my whole business is about filling that, teaching them how to fill that cup up themselves, helping them unravel and navigate what it is that they really want in a life because what they're working at may not be what they want to consider as retirement. It may not be what they want to consider as the tail end of their careers or their lifestyle, or they love their career but they just don't love where they're at. So it's helping the person wherever they're at evolve the way they want to. And that all starts not with just awareness, but hyper awareness. And then looking at the belief systems and the habits and the behaviors that they have and breaking it down and analyzing it and breaking those, I'm going to call them bad habits for lack of better terms, but breaking the habits that are no longer serving them and rebuilding habits that will serve them and embedding them for lasting change.
Wow. Love that. Love that. How d- how did you get to that business? What led you to that business?
My own personal development and navigating it myself.
Love that.
I
Love that.
literally mapped out my own progression as I
Yes.
went through it. So in the annihilation system, so I created the annihilation system. So that is not a complete system like you would think it is, but I wanted to reach people on different levels
Hmm.
that I utilized during my journey.
Yeah.
So inside the annihilation system right now, there are three ways that you can work with me. I have a 5 week online program. I have a oh, I've got a I've got a membership, so a monthly membership, group membership where you get group coaching that involves a community. Wherever I see gaps, I try to fill these gaps in all of them. So with the
Hmm.
online program, it's 5 weeks, but it's not your typical online program that you take and I'm not around. So it's an online program. You get access to community, you get access to virtual calls, you get emails that go out throughout the week so that you're getting touch points throughout the week, enhancing the learning that you're getting from when the course drops and you're getting those virtual points plus the community to connect with like-minded people so you can bridge that gap and have the accountability because most people don't finish online programs. 10% of people finish their online programs and I'm like, "Yep." Because I've bought a good many, spent thousands of dollars on them and not finished them because there was no accountability, no touch point. I'm a queen of questions. So the minute my questions don't get answered, especially if it's a program that builds on the knowledge, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that didn't happen in mine. The same thing with the group coaching. My group coaching that I participated in were Zoom calls because COVID had hit. So my group coaching was online Zoom calls. That was it. We connected 2 to 3 times a month, and that's all we had. So I was like, how can I fill that gap? Community. People can connect and build relationships a lot faster when they're interacting on a regular basis like they do on Facebook. So creating a community, having the touch points, having the virtual calls, having a place where we can all come together and I can drop in additional information, additional tools. And then, of course, the one on one mentorship that creates the same thing, but it's more customized and personalized to you, but you get access to the group. You get
Mhm.
access to Ignite Your Personal Power, which is the online program as well.
Beautiful. Love that. Love that. How long have you been running this business?
It's been just little under 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
Almost 2 years.
Beautiful. Share with us an example of the most remarkable transformation you've seen so far with one of your clients.
That's just it. Everything is so customizable that to me it's not one person having one massive transformation. It's watching the evolution from where they're at, stuck, trapped, feeling like there's no options,
Hmm.
to watching that whole perspective open up.
Yeah.
So it's everybody having that evolution, that journey, that expansion. So I was doing it just with individuals, and the getting that program online to ignite your personal power has been huge because it's only been in the last few months that I've opened up the idea of having everybody come together in community, having everyone have access to the different tools because I noticed those gaps and I wanted to make sure they were filled. So as I learn and grow and evolve, I'm bringing it to my clients, and it's allowing that transformation to happen more smoothly. Like you can see it flow way better than it did when I was just starting off and just navigating people individually. So it's a whole different package now than what it was 2 years ago.
Beautiful. Who would benefit the most from working with you in with your program?
It would be that busy professional individual or professional parent. I more or less focus on parents because of it's a whole different dynamic when you throw kids in the middle of it. And it's even a more heightened dynamic when you add a child that has special needs, illnesses, disease, or sickness of handicaps of any kind. So I understand all of those layers. Not only did I grow up with it, but I've also navigated it with my own child, and
Hmm.
she's my only child, which I think makes it even harder because when you've got multiple kids, you
Yes.
have multiple responsibilities. But when
Yes.
you have one, you're hyper focused on that one. So when anything goes wrong, you're like, oh my Lord, it's the only one
Yeah.
I got. Let's make it count.
Yes,
So
indeed.
it's I've lived that life since I was born. The boys were when I by the time I was born, the boys were already sick. I shouldn't say this, but I joke about being a stress baby. And I joke about that's probably why I've thrived on stress my entire life because my mother found out the boys were going to not live while she was pregnant with me.
Oh, wow.
So she was under a tremendous amount of stress while carrying me. And being in the womb, I would have taken all that energy that she was carrying, all that stress that she had in her physical body from her emotional and mental health, I would have absorbed it in the fetus in the womb. So I joked about being a stress baby and how I thrived on stress when I was younger. It's like I used to joke, it's inevitable. So
Yeah.
it's stress is my trigger. And that's one piece that I've noticed is that the medical system, especially here in Canada and the US, they have a specific path that they take. And I found for people like me that are navigating stress that don't require medical needs, we I've had more success outside of the medical system than I did in it.
Mm,
The medical system serves its purpose. They're there for the extreme cases where people need that medical assistance, that medical help. But when you're somebody that's stressed and you just know there's a better way and you just need to find a path, that's where I thrive.
love
I
that. Love
thrive
that.
with those that are ready to make the change and are willing to commit to themselves to make the change. Because you and I both know we can't change people unless they want it.
That's key.
And
Absolutely.
I can't control anyone else. All I can do is guide them. So they have to want it.
Oh, that absolutely. They have to be ready. You can't help someone that's not ready to be helped, or even doesn't even understand that they need help.
I've been that person. I get it. You
Yes, same
think you're
here.
ready. You spend money on programs, people, whatever, and then when push comes to shove, you're not quite ready, but it's been a stepping stone of the journey.
Yeah,
So I've been that uncoachable person from time to time.
same here because of that ego right here.
Yeah. Yeah. And fears can literally stop you in your tracks when you don't fully
Yes,
understand that that's actually what's happening.
absolutely. Absolutely. Powerful, powerful. Let's move forward. Let's start wrapping things up. To finish, I'd like to ask you another series of rapid fire questions, but this time on advices. Ready?
Giver.
What's the best piece of advice you've received so far?
To never give up.
Mm,
Life is so short. And as children, we don't stop. Like, look at all of us when we learn to walk. Did anybody
yes.
ever look at us and say, stop walking and this isn't working? No. But as adults, we somewhere along the way adapt this behavior of it's not working, let's give up.
Mm,
I've seen it so many times and I really noticed it. I actually, when I first started my business, I jumped into a digital marketing program. And again, they had a community, and you see it all the time in the community of this isn't working, this isn't working. Well, the lady that created the program can see all of us and our progress. And most people are not even 25% through the program, but because they've taken the first couple steps and they start doing, they stop the learning and they're like, this doesn't work. And she'll come in the chat and say, you've only finished less than 25% of your program. How about you keep learning first before you say you can't? But yet, they jump into the digital marketing because they can make money at it. And they go to their jobs for 30 plus years, living in the box of their instructions, their title, their position. And I call it a box because when you're an
it is.
employee,
Yeah,
most employees are this is your job, these are your tasks, you do them from day to day. You don't most I shouldn't say most, but some allow you to speak up, some don't, but you're boxed in. This is what you do every day. You go to work for 30 plus years and you do it every day, you don't give up. But yet you give somebody something independently to do and they're like, "Oh, this doesn't work. It doesn't work." And I'm like, "Well, you showed up for work for the last 30 years. That didn't seem to work for you either, but you kept going." Especially those that hated their jobs. Like you hated it, but you kept going. You didn't give up on
yeah,
it
yeah,
because there's this underlying that belief that they need it to pay their bills. They need it for the house. They need it. So it's the belief systems and the habits, and it's that never giving up. And especially as adults, break your shit down and start looking at really what's going on, because if you gave up as a young toddler walking, you wouldn't be here right now.
yeah, absolutely. That's powerful. Speaking of giving up, have you ever been on the verge, on the brink of giving up? And if yes, what kept you going and what stopped you from giving up?
I've given up multiple times.
Mm,
I've given up multiple times, and it wasn't until I did my personal development that now I look at it differently. I gave it a new perspective, I gave it a new meaning. So giving up now it's not even in my vocabulary. Like you say,
oh,
change your thought process, change your belief, change your life.
yes, indeed, indeed. Now, what has been the worst piece of advice you've received so far?
Get a good education, get a good job. That advice is good if it's what you want to do, but for me, it
Yes.
it it was given with no premise, no guidance,
Yes.
no substantial anything backing it substantial. It
Hmm.
was just tossed out there. It
Yeah.
was literally like, pick it. You're good in math. Take accounting. I hate accounting. Absolutely hate it. So yeah, get a good education, get a good job. There is a time and place for education, but I believe education is starting to fall short in a massive way. You
Hmm.
know, university is needed if you want to be a doctor, you want to be a nurse, you want to be an architect. Like there's a place for university, but there's so many things out there that is costing our young people so much money and they don't need it. Real estate, they train their own. Financial services, you can get trained on your own, like on their systems. You literally get certified to sell investments through their training. You don't need a university to necessarily do it, depending on what you want to do. So some require it, but depending on where you're at, there's a ton of alternative trainings out there that our
Yes.
young people could be diving into depending on what they want out of life. And
Yeah.
online has opened that up so much for our young people. There's so much more opportunity for them now than we ever had.
Absolutely. Plus, what they teach in school doesn't really prepare you for life. They just prepare you
No,
to be box and yes, ma'am, yes, sir type of person.
yes. And there's a huge transition right now with
Yeah.
AI. You know,
Oh,
people love it or they hate it. Well, guess what? It's like the internet, it's like technology. It's here, it's not going away. So you either learn to embrace it and utilize it and learn to make money with it, or it could replace your job. Literally.
yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Imagine you were blessed with a time machine and you can go back in time and sit face to face with 18-year-old Anne. What's the number one piece of
God.
advice you would give to her knowing all that you know now?
Knowing all that I know now, I would have told her to stick with the fitness industry and start personal development right straight out of high school.
Mm, yes. 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 Love that.
I would have been doing what I'm doing now way back then with the added fitness piece.
Yes. 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 I know you have your own podcast, and imagine that your podcast is very successful. And today you're interviewing the most special person in the world, and that is yourself. What's the first question you want to ask yourself?
If I was, oh my Lord,
Don't think too much. First question that comes to your mind.
would have been what you just asked. What would have changed your 18-year-old self
Ah,
to get you to where you're at now? Like
love that. Love that.
what spaghetti would you have removed from the plate to make it a straighter line?
Yeah, exactly. The last question I love asking, and that's my favorite question to ask, and that is what's the smallest thing you've done in your life that has had the deepest, biggest, most profound positive impact in both your life and business? For example, for me, it's been starting my podcast. What about you, Anne?
Meditation.
Ah,
That one small practice, because breath work is tied into it. Like there's so much you can tie into meditation. That one small practice, I wouldn't have been here without it.
love that. Love that. If someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
Social media, website. There's so many different ways you can connect with me. Honestly, my website is www.dynamicliving.ca. And I've got contact forms on there. I've got information on my programs on there. Anything that I have to offer, there's an offer page. It's all simplified in one spot. That
So,
is
that,
probably the best way.
so
And
dynamic.
I'm on Facebook,
Yeah,
dynamicliving.ca.
love that. We'll put that in the show notes. Listen, Anne, absolutely pleasure having you share your story, getting to know you better. What a story. What a story.
It's been a
And
journey.
oh, indeed, indeed. Listen, I salute you, truly with a heart. Keep shining your light, keep blessing the world, your presence, your impact, your smile, and of course, your happy feet, and all that. Stay safe, stay awesome, and keep warm. And
Yes.
God bless. Definitely talking to you very soon, my friend. Take care.
Thank
Cheers.
you so much, my
Very
love.
welcome.
Take care.
Bye bye.